Okay, let's take questions from the assignment that you didn't get correct. I'm not going to do scoring right yet. Let's just get the things that you missed. I didn't understand. Everybody got it perfect? No, okay. Now I can see hands. Jaden, which one? Okay, number 5 is, I'm sorry, say it one more time. Number 9. Number 9 is simple interest. And so what's the formula for simple interest? Andrew?
Simple interest?
Uh-huh.
PRT.
Okay, so I have I equals PRT. And what does each of those stand for? Aaron, what does I stand for?
I stands for interest.
It's the interest that you've earned. Yes, what's the P?
Kind of principal.
It's principal, and that doesn't mean Mrs. Lewis. What does it mean?
It means the how much it's going to cost.
Okay, not quite. Who can help? What is the principal? You got to know these. Yeah, the amount that you're putting in, that's the start. Because when you start a school, you need a principal. So that's a way to help you remember. You've got to have the principal. All right, let's have Claire. What's the R stand for?
It's the amount that it's raised by.
No, we're looking for a better answer than that. Luke? No. Garrett? It's the rate. It's how much I'm either paying you or charging you to have your money. Okay? And then the last one is the most difficult. Vince, what's that? It's time in years, and that's where a lot of mistakes get made. All right, so it says in here, in number 9, that the P is 800. So I can fill that in. And it tells me that the rate is 4.7%. So, Jacob, what would that be as a decimal? Okay, and then they give us that they want us to find the time. So I'm going to put that as T. Now, this is where the issue comes in. The other information they gave us was that A equals, and it's 1213.60. That's nowhere in my formula. So, JB, what do I do? Okay, so what does this A stand for? We never defined that one. What's A stand for? John, do you remember what A stands for? Okay, Emily?
Balance.
Okay, the way, clear?
It's what you get after everything that happens, like after the time is what you have.
Right, it's after it's all said and done. I like to remember it by saying it's all done. It's all of the money together. It's what's in your account. So if this is what's in your account, 1213.60, and I started with 800, find the interest is by subtracting. Is Jaden that where you made your mistake? Yeah. Okay. Does anyone need me to keep going? You need me to keep going? No. Okay. All right. Questions? Any more on this one before we go? Matthew? Okay, but on number 9, anything before I erase it? Okay, let me do my little... I'm getting so good at that. Okay, all right, which one, Matthew, next? 10. Okay, number 10 is the same exact thing, okay, is that I have your A, I want you to find your P, the rate, and 20 years. So it's the same process as that one. So it's the exact same process. So I'm going to hold off on working that one if we have some others that are different. Kyle?
On 12, I had, instead of 67 cents, I had 66 cents.
That means you rounded incorrectly. Do you need to see it?
No.
Okay.
Wait, can you do 12?
Okay, does anybody else need to see 12? Okay. It says that 500 is lent and they charge her 2% simple annual interest. 14 months, about how much will she have to pay? Round your answer to the nearest cent. So it's the same formula, but this one, the I equals PRT, you had to go look for the information a little bit more. It says 500, simple interest, and what would I write that as, Alex? And the reason I went ahead and worked this one is because the time is what messes you up. the time, how many of you put 14 right there? Okay, no one messed that up. Why can't 14 go there? That's good. Let's get rid of that 14. Why can't 14 go there, Garrett? It's right. So what is 14 months? And this is where I think a lot of people would have made the mistake. It's 1 year, and then it's 2 out of 12 months, which is 1/6. So what is 1/6 as a decimal? Vince, what did you put? So you left it as 1. You can put the fraction in. Okay, who changed it to a decimal? Okay, Andrew, what did you change it to?
0.16 repeated.
Okay, so this would actually be 1.16 repeated. Okay? Alex?
So, rounded that up to 7 instead of repeated,
That would have messed your calculations up, yes. And on a test, I would make sure that you knew where to round exactly to. Okay? Anything more on this one? Does that make sense to you now? Okay.
just messed up on the months.
Yes.
Is it possible to hit repeated on the calculator?
If you don't have that button option on your calculator, then you just hit it about 8, 9 times and it'll calculate it in. It's better if you do what Vince does and makes it into a fraction. So if I had 1 and 1/6, I would put that in as 7/6 as a fraction. Are you causing trouble, Mrs. Lewis?
No, it was what Andrew said. I did not say it.
Andrew, what did you share?
Okay. I said I hate Vince's calculator.
That's okay. Don't share anymore. Don't share anymore.
Because when you had to put it, when you wanted to find a decimal, I just put it as a fraction. I'm like, I already know that. What if I want a decimal?
There is a button on the calculator, and that's why it's important. Now, next year, you all are going to be purchasing your graphing calculators, okay? And it's important, and we're going to spend more time later this year working on the graphing calculators, but it's important that you know how your own calculator works so that when you do standardized tests or when you are working, that you can find those buttons. So it is hard to use somebody else's calculator. Andrew, I'll give you that. Okay, other questions from this set? Maddie?
What was number 14?
The answer to number 14 was 25 years. Allie?
Number 13.
Okay, which part of 13?
Every.
Okay, all the parts?
I don't know what I did wrong, but it just confused me.
Okay, did you do I equals PRT?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take just, since we've done the ones with time, let's get rid of this one, and I'm going to do one with the rate. Okay, so let me do the third one. It tells you that the balance is 3742.50, and it tells you that the P is equal to 3,000, and it tells you the time is 45 months. Okay? And we want to find the rate. All right, so how did you start?
I think I forgot to subtract 3,742.
Okay, so that's where the mistake. So did you have 742.50 is equal to 3,000 times the rate which we're trying to find, and then who can tell me what the time is for 45 months? JB, what do you get? Mm-hmm. Better? Okay. All of those problems on this set, ladies and gentlemen, are all this formula of the simple interest. I equals PRT every single time. If you do this, and by the way, a rounding error, how much does that cost you on the test? Half a point or a point, depending on the value of where your mistake was. So if you have the setup, that's the most important part. I'm looking for you to be able to set them up. Alex? Okay, 13a is that other formula. Did you use the other formula for that one or not? Okay, remember that it was the formula that Vince talked about, which is, or JB, who, I don't remember who was. A equals, one more time. Okay? You have to use that formula because we're trying to find the principal, and we don't know how much that was. Did you use that one, Alex? Or, I don't remember who asked. Alex? Yeah, did you use that formula? Okay. Other questions? Maddie? I do. That's the only time I use it. Otherwise, it's so much easier just to use I equals PRT. Okay. All right. What I want to do now is go over, and I don't think we did this yesterday, even though we kind of started, is what's on the quiz. What do you need to know over, I'm sorry, not quiz, test. See, again, you all focus in on just that last part of the chapter, and I want to focus in on all of the chapter. What topics are you going to have to be able to do? Well, the first one is from your quiz, which most of you did extremely well on, and that's percent equals the decimal equals, sorry. I'm getting there, equals the fraction. Okay, does anyone need any explanation on what to do there? Any review? That was what was on the first quiz. Claire, what part?
Turning the decimals and the percent into a fraction.
Okay, going to a fraction. So I'm going to start with, let's do 37 and a half, whoops, sorry, 37.5%. Okay, and you want to be able to change that into a fraction? Okay, who can tell me the first step if I give you the percent? What's the first procedure, Allie? Go to a decimal. So to go to a decimal, I wipe away this percent, but I have to take this in my brain. This is 37.5. The decimal moves 2 places, and it's 0.375. You're good with that? Questions on that part? Okay, Jacob, what do I do now in order to get that to a fraction? Okay, close. Aaron? It's over 1,000. You actually have to read this number. See, we practice so much saying the number. We say 0.375, but who can actually read that number to me? Remember the difference between saying and reading. Maddie? Okay, you were close, but you were still saying it. Alex? Yes, you just don't say the point. So it's 375 over 1,000. Now, can I leave it, Vanessa? Why not? Emily, why can't I leave that? It's not simplified. So once you read it, Claire, then all you have to do is simplify it. Okay? Any other questions on this part? Decimal fraction percent. Alex? The repeatings are fair game, absolutely. The repeatings that I expect you to know are the basic fractions, 1/3 and 2/3. And at this point, I think we've done the ninths enough. How many of you would agree that you know the ninths now? Okay, every hand should be up because 1/9 is what, Vince? I'll come back. Luke. It's 0.1 repeated. What's 2/9? Andrew? 0.2 repeated. How about 5/9? Vanessa? 0.5 repeated. And so I feel like we've done those enough. Now, will there be one like the example we just had here for 1/6? Probably not. It's going to be ones because you are using your calculator on the test. I think it's fair game to give you harder ones and the repeats. Okay? Anyone else? Questions on this first topic? Okay, let me get rid of this part. Okay, second topic is where you have to write the percent of a number. questions on what that is? Everybody knows perfectly what they need to do for that. Okay, well, I'm going to ask anyway. Give me an example of one so that we're all on the same page. Matthew, give me an example of how to find a percent of a number.
If it's like, what is 75% of 45 is 8.75?
Hold on, you went too fast for me. 75% of 45. And notice he put the what in front. If that what's there, great. If it's not, that's also great. So 75% of 45, and let's make somebody, call on somebody to work it since you came up with the problem. Hurry, pick. Aaron, go ahead. What would you put in on your calculator?
0.75 times 45.
Absolutely. And then you'd find your amount. Jade. Oh, yes. Funeral people. Hold on. Okay, so again, this percent of a number is exactly following the equation. All right, the next thing is if you're asking for an example, like I give you the number, 17 is 20% of what number? All this is a different version of number 2. It's the same stuff, I'm just putting the what in a different place. Okay? Topic number 4 is finding the percent. So I say, what percent of 17 is 8? I'm looking for the percent. Okay, topic 5 is the percent of change. Big idea there is, who knows what formula I talked about again and again and again. You've got it.
Me?
Uh-huh. Eddie?
Original times percent equals part.
Correct. The percent times the original equals the part. And remember that part can be tax, it can be markup, it can be discount, it can be any of those things. And then the last topic is your favorite topic, and that's the word problems. I hear groaning. Thank you. What kind of word problems do we have? There are lots of different types. What are the different types? Andrew, one?
Those are count A and count B things.
Okay, but I need a more specific idea of that.
Simple annual interest.
Okay, it's the two types of interest. The I equals PRT and the compound. Sorry. Okay, and then what else? Emily? Yeah, the shopping and tax. Tax, discount, markup. Which again is just number 5, but now we're putting it in a word problem. Now, when we took the quiz, we only went through, was it section 3, 4? Or, I'm sorry, section 4? No, the quiz only went through about here. Okay? And we didn't have very many word problems. Was there only one word problem on the quiz?
I think there was four.
There were 4?
Yeah. 3.
Okay, those were minor, but not where you had to do multi-steps. So let me rephrase it. These word problems in number 6 are the multi-step ones. That's where I'm going to tell you I'm going to buy something that costs $50, and I have to get tax of 9%, but I found a coupon that gave me 30% off. Those multiple step problems are the type that I'm looking at for this word problems. And then, of course, the ones that we just reviewed today, the I equals PRT. Okay, questions? Andrew?
Are we going to vote on
Which topic to do right now? All right, well, what I want you to do, first of all, is rate yourself. Like we've done this before, is on these, give yourself a grade of what you think right now you're ready to do. An A would mean, if I put it in front of you right now, you could get it correct. A B would mean, yes, you pretty much understand the topic, but you probably need a little review. And then anything below a B says that you need help. I have concerns on this topic. Okay, so give yourself a rating from A through I need help. Does anybody know where the green? Oh, the green one isn't there? Oh, okay. Oh, it does work. Okay, I'm going to start with word problems. How many of you gave yourself a grade below B for word problems? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, 8 people. There are 8 people who are concerned about word problems. Okay, how many gave themselves a grade of C or lower for percent of change? I said not an A or a B for 6. Okay. All right. So how many for that one? Percent of change? Just 2. Okay. Okay. What percent of? That's where I say find the percent for topic 4. How many need help with that? Okay. All right. 17 is 20% of what number? How many said they need trouble or have trouble with that? Oh, good. I like that. How many said finding the percent of a number was a problem? Okay. And how many think they need more practice on decimal fraction percent? Okay, so basically what you're telling me is it's the second half of the chapter that we need to focus on. So let's go to what percent of and percent of change. I'm going to do those first because this word problem part, oops, sorry. There we go. Okay, sorry. What you're telling me is that these word problems basically encompass, the word problems are basically all of these parts. It's numbers 2 to 5. If you can do numbers 2 to 5, then you can do the word problems. The only difference is I'm putting a lot of that yucky English stuff in there. Okay? So as long as you're still looking and focusing on these concepts, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you can do the 6 word problems because it's all based on those. All right, tomorrow that's where we'll pick up on 4, 5, and then we'll definitely spend all of tomorrow working on word problems. They made a painting. Say it again.
They made a large pink stuffed rabbit.
It's still running.
So cool.